people in this. Do you believe that there are some people? That there are some people in this world that did not tune in to the Alliance Vlog podcast. Shame on you!
Shame on you. My name is Ella Indy, and I'm one half of the NWA Women's World Tag Team Champion.
And I'm Kitty Page, the other half of the NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion.
And you better go listen to the Alliance Vlog. What is it called again?
Podcast. Period.
Or you're ugly. You're Empower approved.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive Poppy Daniel Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance Vlog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
Are you ready?
Power.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
I'm building an alliance.
God bless the internet.
Okay, let's party. It's showtime.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts Kevin Frazier, Jaden, DKM, and J. Cal.
DK said that putting your show out there, the territory system isn't necessarily a big get for the NWA as much as just recognizing what's happening outside of the NWA. And I kind of agree with that, especially when it comes to our World Television Champion and Tom Latimer, specifically for the reason that, Tom Latimer has, depending on if you count outside the NWA, Tom has 7 victories as our TV champion. He defeated Rhett Titus on an episode of Power. He just defeated Garrison Creed, but this was at an MAW event back in February. Now, MAW is not associated with the NWA. Garrison Creed has made a few appearances within the NWA, but we'll move forward. He had a time limit draw with EC3 in Highland Park, but a draw goes to the champion. He defeated Fodder again in Highland Park. He defeated Jay Bradley at the HB Cares for Cooper, which hasn't been televised yet. He defeated Mario Pardua in Highland Park, and he defeated Noah Kakoa in Boca Raton, Florida, which also hasn't aired yet. Could this murky up the title picture at this 75th anniversary show? Do you think this could become a triple threat bull rope match?
No.
God, I hope not.
No, I think with going through a bull rope match where the idea of being tied together, and the big bull rope in the middle, I don't think you can do that in a 3.
They need the cowbell. This match needs more cowbell.
Yeah, effectively.
I have a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
You gotta work on your walking too. Your impressions aren't where it's at, brother.
I never actually attempted to walk in that way before.
You never tried Christopher Walken. See, mine aren't good either.
Walk this way. Funny.
Do you think that?
I still don't think Jay's gotten it.
Do you think that there is an opportunity that maybe the title might be defended twice at Crockett Cup Night 2?
Which title?
The 10 pounds of gold.
Crockett Cup Night 2?
Did I say Crockett Cup? No, 75th anniversary show. Sorry, 75. Excuse me.
So you're saying EC3 wins it or Tyrus retains it and then it's defended the next night?
No. Okay, so the match happens night 2. The world title match between EC3 and
that's the main event.
That's the main event. But what if, because that as we saw with Jack Stane, he had that championship cash-in. He's on Crimson, right? There's a few people on the roster that have an opportunity to do the cash-in, and I'd have to go back and look to see which wrestlers those are. But we do know that Tom Latimer has 7 successful victories. If they don't recognize the one in MAW, he'll probably be defending the TV title at least night 1 or night 2, which would bring him to 7. If they recognize those 7 being the Boca Raton show and the HB Cares for Cooper event, then he would have 7. Theoretically, he could cash in night 2 and challenge the winner of the match, of the bull rope match.
Could. I don't know that they will. A lot will depend on what they do with the tag team titles. If they double switch them, it hurts double switching the world championship.
Yeah.
So, and I would prefer to see it. I hate hot short title reigns, but I would prefer to see a double switch in that, if that were going to be the case. I mean, is the winner from night 1 definitely facing Murdoch's in night 2?
Yes, that
Okay.
one we know for a fact. That's in fact, I have it right here. Let me pull it up. So we know for a fact sorry, that went down, should have went up. We know that on night 1, it's going to be Blunt Force Trauma versus La Rebellion for the World Tag Team titles. And then on night 2, the winner of that match faces the Murdochs.
Trademarked.
I could see that double title change, and I would be okay with it. Although it's not my normal what I like to see.
Right.
I'd be okay with it. I would rather see La Rebellion, who've lost a lot recently. I'd rather see them get their revenge on Blunt Force Trauma and get the victory, and then lose to Murdoch's. Get beat up or something. At the end of the night or at the end of the match.
I wouldn't hate Blunt Force Trauma winning and then beating Murdoch's too, because that will revenge a loss.
Yeah, I just not the biggest fan of Doom 2.0.
I don't mind them. I
I
always liked Rodney Mack.
I don't.
Back when he was Red Dog.
I don't dislike them, but and maybe it's just again that way that they've been booked, and we see some of it in the show, in Power, but it was just. I don't know. I would rather. I want Murdoch's to be the champions at the end of the 75th. I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just saying that's what I want.
If they're changing the world title, it's best, in my opinion, to hold off changing the tag, especially if they're going to do it twice.
Yeah, that's the thing. Of course, I don't know if they're changing the world title or not. I mean, just because
That's where I said the if.
Yeah, I was going to say, just no matter what the rumors or no matter what the stipulation or whatever, I can see Tyrus ending the night still as champion.
I wouldn't be surprised if he retains the title. They're also doing TV in Nashville the following 2 days. I would be disappointed if they don't take the belt off of Tyrus, but nothing is going to surprise me in terms of the booking of this show. I wouldn't be shocked if every title changes hands. I wouldn't be shocked if none of the titles change hands. I mean, if we just look at the card as it is dealt right now, I mean, the title matches that I can pull up here, I could very much see Natalia Markova becoming the next women's world champion. I could very much see Blunt Force Trauma winning on night 1 and losing to Murdoch's on night 2. I could very easily see Colby Carino winning the title from Kerry Morton. I could very easily see EC3 winning the title from Tyrus. With all that being said, I could also see none of those guys winning the titles and no title changing hands whatsoever. But I don't think that's what's best for business. And I think at least the 75th, this is their WrestleMania. Don't make no mistake about it. This is their big moment to shine. They're going to do something big. Something big is going to happen, whether it be Camille is no longer the women's champion after that pay-per-view, or Tyrus loses the title, or Lauderbell. The titles are going to change because this is their big night. But I just don't know who is going to leave as champion.
Also, to DK's point, if we can't get behind a wrestler that's booked badly by the NWA, then other than Camille, there's nobody to get behind.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
actually very disappointed in the lack of build that we've had for Markova, Camille. I guess it's 3, but it's kind of 2 in the grand scheme of things.
What did you expect to see? Because remember, we also have another 4 weeks of television before the pay-per-view.
Look, I'm not saying they won't do something, and I'm certainly not saying they will do anything. But, they've announced the match without any understanding of
proper booking.
Yeah, I'm reading everybody who.
Yeah, please stop putting comments, and he gets distracted easily. It's shiny for him.
Well, it's just, everybody's so convinced Tyrus is losing the belt. Everybody was convinced Tyrus was losing the belt at 312. So
everybody was convinced Damian Wayne was going to win at the dog event,
including Damian Wayne. Everybody said when Tyrus first won the title, he's just going to be a transitional champion. They're not going to keep it on him long. And I told all of you then you were idiots. And,
your whole family is idiots. It's upbringing.
Yeah, sorry. Anyone who thought that was going to be a short reign, and everyone's going to lie now because everybody's going to go, well, I knew it was going to be a while. I knew they wouldn't take the title off him right away. Yeah.
No, I definitely am one of those people that thought that Trevor Murdoch would win the title back. I didn't think it was going to be a long-term run. And, of course, think about it this way. When they put the belt on him at Hard Times, they had a good progression to have him win that title. Whether you like Tyrus or not, the story that they were telling with Tyrus and Murdoch, and there was this mutual admiration for each other, and Trevor violated that admiration because he went low when Tyrus went high, and now Tyrus is going to make the same mistake twice. There was a good storytelling for that. Do I like Tyrus as a wrestler? No, but I could at least appreciate the storytelling that they were telling. But then once he wins the title, it absolutely just went to shit because they had no plan for him. They didn't have good opponents for him. Matt Cardona got a shot, and it was a joke. Rolando got a shot. It was a joke. He went to Mexico, and he fought against a guy who hurt himself in the match. And I'm not trying to put that on Daga, but even if Daga was 100% healthy, putting Daga into a match with Tyrus, a guy who is essentially a junior heavyweight, and the match with a guy who's a super heavyweight, I'm sorry, it's just not going to work. It wouldn't have been a good match no matter what. It had a recipe for disaster. There were guys on that AAA roster who would have made a lot of sense. Psycho Clown had a great match with Trevor Murdoch, good match with Trevor Murdoch. He should have been in that position. He should have been wrestling against Tyrus. At least then you have a credible opponent for Tyrus. And even at the end of the day, if Tyrus still takes the victory and Psycho Clown does the JOB, at least you have a guy who was like, hey, man, he stepped in the ring. He looked good. It was a almost equal comparison. Not quite. But Psycho Clown's a heavyweight. Daga's a junior heavyweight. Just didn't make sense. Didn't look good on paper. Then you put him in the ring with Chris Adonis, and he barely survived that match. And then you put him in the Crockett Cup, and he looked like shit in Crockett Cup. Did I want Tyrus as world champion? No. Did I think it was going to be a short-term run? Yes. Am I shocked that it's not? I'm disappointed.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of that. And so, and look, he may lose the title and he may retire. That is definitely an out that would work, for them. It's definitely something they could do at 50 years old. But I am in no way saying it's going to happen, without a doubt, because I don't know. I don't know why they have the idea. And getting back to what we were talking about, Markova and Camille, but my problem with that one is that the match was announced almost right away when they started announcing matches. And yes, they could still do something storyline wise, but they haven't explained to us why we're having that match at all. They had the match last time and Markova lost clean.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what reason have you given us that there's going to be a rematch?
Yeah,
and announcing it and then giving us the reason 5 weeks later is foolish.
Well, I agree with you in that I feel like if they weren't going to pull the trigger at 312, this isn't the time to do it. I feel like you should have either gone with an outside hire for this situation or not have Camille defend the title at all. Because I think just giving the match to Markova, she didn't earn it. Like in most title matches, if the champion doesn't win, it's not guaranteed a rematch. That the challenger then has to go and fight their way back through. Markova hasn't fought through anything. If anything, Kenzie Page looks more prompt to be the challenge for the Women's World Championship than Markova. So I agree with you. They've done nothing to build it up. I'm not saying that there isn't time for that, but they've done nothing to build it up.
Well, there's a reason why back in the day, a lot of the early matches, first-time matches, either ended in time limit draws or controversially, because then people wanted to see the rematch. But if when the person just goes over clean, then it's like, well, okay, now I need a reason to see it.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where we are on some of these things. I will say one thing that Tyrus did well in their thing at 6:30 my time, 7:30 Eastern. Who knows what time it was Pacific? 4:30, I guess. He gave the history of him and EC3.
Yeah.
How they started out in Florida Championship Wrestling. How they did things in Next. How Tyrus became the Funkadactyl and took off on the main roster. And EC3 went and became the man in another promotion. And, and then, Tyrus went to that promotion, at first they were friends and then they fell apart. And then the reason he was putting these stipulations in was because, EC3 kept making him have to run through hoops in order to get a match with him and all that stuff. He gave us in this one thing more reason for why we should care about these two guys wrestling than
Billy Corgan has ever.
Yeah, I go then probably any title match since the first one between Murdoch and Tyrus. There we go. So, and I don't, the problem is Murdoch has to be in with the right person. Tyrus has to be in with the right person to look good. And so I'm just not sure. EC3's had some very bad matches.
5 years ago today, to this very day, I saw EC3 live for the very first time at the Riverside Municipal Auditorium when he was with NXT. And there's a reason why I'm telling you that, and I'm going to look it up right now. He shared the ring with Tomas Ciampa. Am I saying that right?
Tommaso Ciampa.
Tommaso Ciampa and Velveteen Dream, and let's see, it was Aleister Black and EC3 versus Velveteen Dream and Tommaso Ciampa. And it was the first NXT live event that I ever saw. It's the only NXT live event I ever saw. And I kept thinking, because I only heard good things about EC3 before. And I was like, wow, this dude is pretty good. And that was literally 5 years ago today. And in that time, he's gone on to go to Impact. Or was he in Impact first? Am I getting
Impact first?
Okay.
He was Impact first.
Okay.
Well, trick question. He was with WWE first in Florida in the early NXT, whatever it was, before it was just the wrestling show.
Yeah.
Then he went to Impact. That's where he developed the name. And then he went to NXT as we think of it today.
Was he Michael Hutter when he was in NXT the first time around?
Might have been. I don't remember. Honestly.
Or was it Derek Bateman? Okay, he was a Florida Championship Wrestling tag team champion as Derek Bateman with Johnny Curtis. But Ethan Carter to the third when he got back to got to TNA.
Right.
Who did Johnny Curtis end up being?
Johnny Curtis ended up being Dirty Dango. It's kind of surprised he hasn't come back to the NWA.
Oh, I'm so glad he hasn't come back to the NWA. Don't.
You didn't like
Did
him?
he start?
What did you say, Jaden? I missed it.
Didn't he end up somewhere recently, like Impact or MLW?
I think he's back in Impact. Hey, I'm looking. I can look right now, right? I think Impact Wrestling. That's where he signed.
No, that's like being on the witness protection program. So,
oh, you're breaking poor Tommy Dreamer's heart, man.
so did cholesterol.
What's that?
So did cholesterol.
Oh, he's gonna go home and sleep with Beulah McGillicuddy tonight. What are we gonna do?
Playing about the NWA.
Talk about the NWA, Daddy.
I got lost. What are we talking about?
I don't know. Wait. No, I'm not going to read that comment, Paladin. I don't know what they did to Tila Tequila, and I don't care to know. Tila Tequila is a name I haven't heard since MySpace, so that's a flashback. Jaden, were you a Tila Tequila fan?
I remember of her, but I don't really remember her. Like the name, it sounds familiar, but so she must not really made much of an impact on me. I liked Viper back in the MySpace days.
Viper?
Yeah, she was a really cool person. She was also a very attractive blonde.
DKM, do you remember Tila Tequila?
You know, that's one of those things where the name sounds incredibly familiar. I mean, she wasn't like, she was like some kind of, wasn't she one of those people that was kind of famous for being famous?
Yes.
For being pretty, more like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember, she was Asian, right?
Yes.
Maybe? Or Spanish?
I'm pulling up her photo now, so just give me a second. Just give me a second. There.
You failed this city.
Singapore. She's from Singapore.
That's Tila Tequila.
Oh.
The name Tequila. Why isn't she Mexican?
I don't think her last name was Tequila because she was Hispanic. I think her last name was Tequila because she liked to do a little drinky.
Yeah, no, she's like I said, Asian. She was born in Singapore and became popular on MySpace.
That's what I said.
And I know I'm reading off Wikipedia right now.
The Alliance guys were big on MySpace.
We had a decent following
on MySpace.
Yeah.
Tequila was
She's on MySpace
to star in her own reality television television series with her bisexuality theme as a bisexuality themed dating show, A Shot at Love with Tila. Now I can't say
Easy
it.
for you to say.
Not at all.
Stop drinking, they maybe never say it.
She was raised in Houston, Texas, which is probably why the tequila comes into effect.
Yeah, that actually explains a lot.
And
not as much as El Paso.
After expressing support of Adolf Hitler and making anti-Semitic and white nationalist comments for being Asian, she was expelled from Celebrity Big Brother. They're Vietnamese by culture.
I guess she wasn't real popular with the ICP fan base at the gathering of the Juggalos, as Jeremy said that she got pelted by Fago at the gathering of the Juggalos, and our pal Paladin said that she was hired to perform at the gathering, and the fans hated her rapping so much they chased her off stage and locked her in the RV, pounding on the windows. So hopefully she's not in St. Louis. I don't think she has anything to do with wrestling at this point or the ICP. So I think we can not worry about that. One thing I want to say is, hey, James H. Jackson says MySpace is still around. We should all make accounts. Who's in? Who wants to make a MySpace account?
None of you would be in my top 8 places.
I might still have one. I don't even know whatever happened to mine.
Yeah, I probably still do have one. I didn't delete it.
You got to delete it and start over fresh, buddy.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.